Countdown clock on the overlay. Chat scrolling fast, can't read a thing. Got my day ones, got some new names. All riding in on this pixel wave. Scene switch quick, that raid just hit. Hype train glow with the stickers lit. I say, yo, fam, this our year. You spam those emotes, fill the screen and hit. Rocking in the new year on Steam's very own. Every fall like a firework blow. From the VODs to the live shows, oh, we're loud. We're here, we're here, we're home. Rocking in the new year on Steam's very own. From the lurch watch to the chat full blown. If you're in this stream, you're never alone. We're loud, we're loud, we're here, we're home. Take that shot when the timer drops. Hit go live and the beat just pops. Got bad jokes and my best friends, turning quiet nights into wild weekends. Pull up chairs in a digital room, turn that late night scroll to a full-on boom. I say 3, 2, 1, let's ride. You flood the screen, all caps in the sky. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. Every follow like a firework blow. From the VODs to the live shows, oh, we're loud. We're here, we're home. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. From the lurch watch to the chat full blown. If you're in this stream, you're never alone. We're loud, we're here, we're home. Type it out, let me see those hands in the chat all across the lands. From the small screens glow to the massive dreams, we're building this brick by brick as a team. New year, same crew, new place to own. New clips, new bits, new inside jokes. Turn it up till the neighbors know. Steve's very own, let the whole world know. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. Every follow like a firework blown. From the VODs to the live shows, oh, we're loud. We're here, we're home. Rocking in the new year on Steve's very own. From the spot to the chat full blown. If you're in this stream, you're never alone. We're loud. We're here, we're home. 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 Click on the stream, light the spark. Steve's very own, tearing through the dark. Boom, my fingers on the keys. Old school rhythm, bend in the breeze. Building his world one clip at a time. Pixel by pixel, climbing the climb. No map, no guide, just the screen's glow. Steve very own and the show. Hey chat, you there?
All right. Advanced Scene Switcher didn't seem to want to activate. Start at the stream. I hope everybody's doing well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Linux. Streaming on Linux, OBS on Linux. So it's Linux and OBS and StreamerBot. Oh my. And maybe a bit of EasyEffects and scripts and Chat GPT. Some more AI slop. But I hope you're doing well. Today we're trying to cover, what it's like to come over to Linux from Windows if you're a relatively big streamer, or maybe I shouldn't say a big streamer. I should say, one who uses StreamerBot a lot and like builds up these actions and such, and you can get StreamerBot to work. We've talked about that last week. You can get StreamerBot to work on Windows through Wine or Bottles. I am using Bottles, which is kind of like a more custom version of Wine. It makes it much more easier to install Windows applications into Linux to run. I think I might have showed it a little bit last week. We'll show it a little bit again today, how to set one up. Very easy. You can port over your StreamerBot actions into your Linux setup, into your Wine or Bottles by putting it in a folder. Just keep in mind as you do that certain things are or will not possibly work. In conjunction with StreamerBot, are you a user of SpeakerBot? Do you use TTS? Do you use a SpeakerBot to do custom voices for you? You are not going to get that to work. Some people have been relatively successful. If you look at the Discord StreamerBot site for Linux Mac, there are some people that said that they've gotten StreamerBot to work. I've attempted to do it, but in the Bottles is a version of Microsoft's Net 4.8.1, which StreamerBot needs to run, but StreamerBot doesn't see that. So there's something either in StreamerBot itself that doesn't see it in the Bottles, or what, I do not know. And from what I gather, it's the same thing on Wine. So a lot of, in certain cases, because it is a Windows platform, or program, StreamerBot and SpeakerBot, you are going to not have everything work 100%. Not everything works as Windows-wise in Bottles or Wine the way you would hope it would. It's just a different type of environment. It's an emulator. It tries to, they've done really good work with it. There's a lot of things you can do with it, and the fact that you can get StreamerBot to do 90. I'll say 90% of its actions is a good thing. Okay, so you can do you can use the random folder. I play that as I was testing up.
This is an important day.
Come on, out of my way, dude. You can do random folders. They that stuff works. Your sound, your voice, things are going to be, again, a bit different because you're not going to be able to use SpeakerBot. So alternatives. What are the alternatives? What are the workarounds? And not just in StreamerBot, but over in OBS, we talked about last week, and we can. If you are interested in, if you don't understand when I talk about Wayland or X11, why it affects OBS mostly, we can kind of go over a bit. Just ask me about that. But because VSTs, you can get VSTs to work in OBS on Linux. I done it. I did it for a couple years in Pop OS, the 22.04 version, which was still using the the X11, Windows manager compared to the Wayland one. That you can have custom. If you could find a distribution that's still running X11, like your XFCE ones, which eventually may go over to Wayland. They're working that into XFCE. But right now, is there anything wrong with an XFCE desktop? No. For me, it's just a little bit older looking, even though you can customize it pretty well. It still looks a little bit Windows, 95-ish, 98-ish with, you can color it and customize it pretty well. If that's not a problem with you, then, an XFCE Ubuntu, or if you're going to attempt Arch, or you're going to use Endeavor, you can do the XFCE install. Then you'll be able to get VSTs to work because the window will open up for it. Whereas in Wayland, it doesn't because of an issue with, not with Wayland, but with Chromium Embedded Framework. So I pretty much am sure that you're not going to find in a couple years many distributions with X11 in it. There'll be a certain amount of people that will try to keep it going and fork it and all that because they don't like Wayland and and all that. But if you're on a more modern system, any GNOME is pretty much going strictly with Wayland. KDE now is pretty much, you can still set up, I guess, X11, but it's switching over. Plan for the future, the workarounds and what kind of drew me back to Windows. I didn't want to do the workarounds in Linux anymore. But yeah, it can be fun. Although I've been working on some things like that's taken me hours to get. I'm a little bit slower. It takes me a while. I can't program things. I can't write scripts really well. I have used ChatGPT to help me. And it is done well, and I do a lot of search online too, but to figure some of this stuff out is a little difficult for me. I try to do my best. I try to learn. But the workarounds, that just, it gets to be a challenge. That's kind of fun until you spend 5-6 hours on it. And, it just, where probably 15 minutes in Windows or even on an X11, adding a VST to get past the voices. My thing is, voice changes. There are a couple of scenes that I use voice changes on. Are they detrimental to the stream? No. Can I do without them? I guess, but I don't want to. It adds to something if you're going to do it. I want to have fun. I want to create actions that work. Well, on Linux, it's EasyEffects. You can use, right now, my microphone, hopefully it's sounding good. I've been doing a lot of testing with it. My microphone is running through EasyEffects into OBS. Gives me a little more control on the way my voice sounds and how I can get it to work. I think it took me a long time in OBS to use their filters, limiter, compressor, gate, expander, noise reduction, and it takes a long time to really, you have to monitor the stream, and that's one of the hardest things to do, or monitor your voice. Through your headset. Don't do it through, because you'll get feedback if you have a microphone, a speaker right nearby. And listen, and trying to talk and listen to yourself at the same time is one of the hardest things to do. In the normal voice, I call this normal. It's enhanced in a way, but it's the normal for the stream. I can do that and sound okay. But now I do start doing voice changes. I was working on a robotic one, and I would go, and I'll play them for you before I show you the actions and how I get them to work in StreamerBot. And as I'm doing it, and I'm just like messing around, like Daleks, exterminate, and it would be like it throws you off. So be aware of that, as you're doing it. But that's the only way that you're going to get it to work right. You can constantly change settings and record and listen to it that way, but listening through your headset is probably the best way to set these up. So, oops. How did I type in there? I didn't want to type in there. I wanted to bring up EasyEffects. So I must be in a chat thing here. Okay, so let's go to the right monitor. This is EasyEffects. This is my voice preset, my normal voice preset, which has got a gate and a de-esser. That's for the S's. Compressor, filter, noise reduction, limiter. This actually was a JSON file that I found online in a GitHub that I didn't have to really do much changing to work. There was some sound getting through and changing the noise gate and the limiter and that. But this is what you can do, and you can create these presets. And you can see right now I have one called Baby. Now I don't have any baby scenes, but I'm planning on something with it. And what's a baby voice? Why does it? You'll hear it and you're like, it's like everybody uses that as a baby voice, but like Baby Trump and the hacker voice. That was that was the easiest one to set up. A hologram took me a while to do. And there's the normal one, and then the robotic voice. I'm still working on the robotic voice and the hologram. Pretty much EasyEffects is designed to clean up and make sound better. If you have a lousy sound system or maybe not great speakers and things like that, you can. This is the input to the microphone. But you can also do it through output, and you can have, like, if you wanted an old time stereo or something like that sound to come through your speakers, you can use EasyEffects to do that. So these are so we'll take you through the different voices, and I am not an audio guy, right? I struggle with this. All I can do is play with things as I hear them. I'll look things up and certain audio sites and that to see what kind of settings I should go at and go with. But like the gate and all these extra things, the gate filter in OBS is so much simpler, right? You don't have all this other stuff. You can't. The side chaining is hidden. The side chain's used for as you talk, which I don't have any music going right now. So let's get some. If you're over on Twitch, you'll hear music. If not, it'll lower the music as you're talking. That's what sidechain does in that. But some of this other stuff, I don't know. The ESR is supposed to help take out the sibilance, right? Compressor kind of can give you that deeper sound and that, and then the filter, there's also like high pass and all that controls your voice. And then the main one's noise reduction will help reduce noise. Now, if I stop talking, nothing. I have my computer right here. There's a garbage truck running down the street. Outside in the hallway here, my son's dove is been making all sorts of noise, and you don't hear that. And then the limiter hopefully helps keep things from peaking and that. So that's pretty much all I know is that you play with these settings until you get it right. Again, listening through your headset. So this is a normal voice. I'll hopefully, you know, tell me if it sounds good. I in all my testing and that, I think it was a little bit better than when I had set up through OBS. Takes a while. You know, you're not gonna find any one setting to be right. You have to do it to your room, to your voice, you know, and you got to take all that into consideration. So from here, I pretty much use these filters. EasyEffects. If I go add effect here, I'm not going to add anything. What EasyEffects has, they have an auto gain, a bass enhancer, bass loudness, compressor, convolver. Not sure what that is. Crossfeed, crusher kind of gives it that crunchy sound like breaking up, which I'm using on the robot, and the hologram. Crystallizer, deep noise remover, de-esser, delay. You can delay your speech. Echo canceller if you've got something that's causing an echo. Equalizer. The equalizer comes with how many? 32 bands, so you can reduce it to as many bands as you need. Exciter, expander, filter, gate, level meter. That just like you put it in there, will just show your levels. Limiter, loudness, maximizer, a multiband compressor, multi-gate, noise reduction, pitch, reverberation, speech processor, stereo tools, and voice suppressor. I'm still learning what half of these are, but you know, for your normal voice, you know, you're going to set up a gate, a de-esser, compressor, filter, noise reduction. You can limit it. You can use. I've seen that speech processor used. It's like 3 or 4 of these tools in one, but then you don't fine tune things that well. So, again, I'm not an audio guy. I found this online. Someone, you know, in a GitHub that you know, had it linked in the EasyEffects site, and it's actually, I think it works pretty good. So now we're going to switch. Now we're going to have some fun, and then I'll show you how I put it all together in StreamerBot to work in with OBS. Now, I didn't, you know, in doing this, I can easily switch them over, but the whole idea of using StreamerBot is to keep things automated. I shouldn't have to click on something if someone brings up the hologram. I might be doing something, talking about something, and it comes up, and at the last minute, I got to change it over. You don't want to do that. You can. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think you want to really do that. You want it all automated. So I use the GNOME desktop, and it puts EasyEffect, the controller down in here. I can switch this way. And if I had output presets, that would show there. It shows that right now I am using my microphone. I could change it over. I don't know how much it would improve if I did the microphone for my headset. And it shows that I'm using my headset to listen. It shows that it's active. You can have shortcuts and all that. You can, you know, in most cases, you can use hotkeys to set these up. But again, there's an issue with hotkeys in Wayland, especially global hotkeys. And that's a problem. So that was a workaround I'm coming up to. But let's take it through. So I will show you in EasyEffects where you know, you go to your presets, and if you click on, we're going to go to baby.
Now I don't have it monitored, so you should be hearing a baby voice. In the baby voice, I pretty much took the original, you know, the normal, and I added a pitch. Where I can change the pitch of the voice, and I have it, I'm still learning octaves and cents and semitones and that. I can change this a little bit. 100 cents equals 1 semitone. 12 semitones equal 1 octave. So it's you know, how long you're gonna have this run, and there's a dry and a wet, and a lot to learn. But listen as you go along. So hopefully this sounds, you know, hey, I'm cute. I got a little baby. Again, people, you know, these programs that have baby voices, this is what it kind of sounds like. And if you watch stuff, you know, on Baby Trump and all that, That's what they kind of use. But the pitch and the baby voice is pretty easy to set up. You make all these changes, and then you create your preset. If you did call it test, and you're going to add it, and then from there, we'll just say like with the baby, if you do any changes, gotta save it. Because I learned it, I'm like, wait a minute, I changed it. Why does it sound different? I changed it. If I did any changes here in baby, you need to go into the 3 dots here and save settings to this preset, and it will save your changes. So I'm sure you're tired of the baby. We'll go with the easiest one of all to set up, the hacker voice or matrix, or if you want it to be
the hidden, what does like the FBI and all that do? If they do an interview, they hide you and they change your voice. Or you're on a news program, you don't want to be known, so they're going to change your voice. Again, so in the pitch, this time I went minus, if you do the minus semitones and that. But this was definitely the easiest one to set up. You just change it, make a deep voice, and you're good to go. Again, you create the preset. And I named mine hacker, and if I made any changes, make sure you you hit the 3 dots, and save the settings to preset. You can name it or delete it. The hologram is still a work in progress, so let's go to that.
So the hologram, a lot of stuff is in here. The whole thing about the holograms, especially like in sci-fi movies, the Star Wars and all that, it's not a great form of communication. It's usually broken up and it's very light and kind of crackly. Pitch change and the crusher adds the kind of crackling sound to it, reverberation, and it trying to get EasyEffects to mess up with sound instead of enhance it is a fun thing in that. Trying to get, for me, it should be able to see a lot of other maybe VSTs or what they call LPDs or LPDs, and it will see a couple of them, but everything that I've tried to install that would help me make my sound like a vocoder. Supposedly vocoder works in EasyEffects, and that I download it, install it, and it doesn't show up. So using what you got. Then let's see.
The annoying robot voice again. I'm not hearing it. Hopefully, I'm not annoying you too much. You kind of change the pitch of your voice, and you can make it sound like a Dalek. Exterminate. If you would lower the pitch a bit, you can maybe get the Borg and get it to echo a little bit. We are Borg. Go back to normal here. So this is the normal enhanced voice and that. Again, I'm not sure on other desktops. I'm sure the control is going to be the same in a way. It will show up here. Excuse me. I can change through these. So how do I get this? The thing now is, how do I get this to work in StreamerBot to activate when I do? Right now it's hologram and matrix hacker. I don't know. Everybody associates the matrix with a hacker kind of voice, so we'll just go with that. One thing too, if you are running EasyEffects, you don't have to leave this up. You can actually close this. It's in preference. If you close this up here, you will still have your controls. It just hides, so you don't need the panel up. You can do all your changes this way, and then you can quit it from here. So let's go, and I will show you the action, and then and you'll hear the sound of that, and then I'll show you how I did it, how I incorporated it into StreamerBot in bottles, and you do the same for wine to run over in OBS. All right.
C come up, spaceship C. This is how I set up my hologram. Again, background removal in Linux, you're either going to use green screen or you can use background removal plugin that you can find from the OBS plugins store. Well, for the plugins, you get this one. But I don't run this background removal all the time because now my CPU, even though I'm on a good RTX card,
it uses CPU. I can't seem to get it to use the GPU, so that my CPU jumps. Now, right now, I have a lot going on in mine, and I still think it's relatively low. OBS is using about 14% of the CPU, but it jumps up to over 20% when that background removal goes. So keep that in mind. It'll be less if you use green screen, but I got green screens down pat, but it's a pain in the ass to put up a green screen. I have a real long one that covers my back wall back there, but I started doing this specifically, and I put buttons on my deck to where if I go and I kind of match up the background scene a bit. Doesn't look exactly right, but when you do the hologram in that, it comes out pretty well. So keep that in mind. I'm sorry I'm talking so much here. My voice is drying out. I should have water instead of coffee. But that was the hologram where I had the sound change, and then this is the matrix or the hacker, whatever you want to call it.
That activates my background remover. And then now, it doesn't look so bad with that background remover because you're doing this. And then the voice, you got that hacker voice. Who would like to get into some millionaire's bank account and spread that money around today? We can do that. Now, gotta watch that. Oh, FBI! So, as you notice, it switches right away. I didn't have to click anything. If someone runs the action, through the command or from Twitch, the commands will work on YouTube. There's buttons over on Twitch that you can use. Commands will work on Twitch too.
But that's, and then it goes back. There's a little bit of a jump in the sound I notice in that. I think I could add a little bit more of a delay from switching so it's not so abrupt. But that again, I'm still learning about. So on Twitch, how can you get your voice changed using EasyEffects in Linux to go on and off without you having to manually, change it? If any time that I want just to change the voice, I can do that without running an action, which is fine, and I can turn it back to normal. But again, I wanted to where these actions, everything's automated. I don't have to stop and think about, oh, Matrix, I gotta go. And then by the time I get it, half my scene is gone, and, trying to come up with something funnier that just goes out the window because you've been distracted and you are doing something else. So, EasyEffects does not or will not be seen in StreamerBot. In the same case as over in OBS, you have the VSTs Actually, in OBS, all you're doing, triggering it from StreamerBot, is turning that filter that you set up on and off. The filter that I use, or the VST that I use, works pretty well for me, is pretty much a pitch changer, and it is free, and it does work on Linux, and it's called Grayleon 2. They have Grayleon 3 out, but OBS will only work with VST2s, and you can download the VST2, the older versions from Grayleon, pretty easily in that. And that's what I also use on Windows, Grayleon 2. And you just, like in Linux, you create a file, a dot VST file. The dot designates that it will be a hidden folder in the in the home directory, but you can easily unhide your photos in that. And that's where OBS looks, and some of your other programs that use VSTs look in that particular folder. And you're able to, if you are on Windows or you are still on a Linux system that is using X11 that allows the windows to open, you will be able to open that window, open the program, play around with the pitch controls and all that, and get your voices. And that's what I did for a number of years. But on Wayland, because of issues with Chromium Embedded Framework and what they use for the Windows in OBS, and there's nothing else that they can really use, not another browser or something like that. It's just how it's a little more technical than I can even attempt to explain. But there is no workaround for that, at least right now. Talk about Chromium Embedded Framework. They are, it's on their GitHub or whatever, and they are Toyota has kind of pushed them forward because Toyota wants to make a Linux infotainment system, and they need pop-up windows for their system, so they need the Chromium Embedded Framework to work on their Linux system. Hopefully that pushes forward, because Toyota is a big company, and they're, they might be throwing money at Chromium Embedded Framework, which benefits us underlings down here, if you want to call us underlings or whatever. So now, how do we get EasyEffects? You've gone and you've made all these voices and voice changes and that. You got your, you don't have to worry about your microphone per se, but you want to be able to come back to your microphone automatically instead of having to switch over. Again, this is all about automation. Our streaming, our using StreamerBot. It's all about automation and having fun. Be able to have someone come up, and do a command. It's all about entertainment and engagement, and having them throw a trigger, and Eugene comes up. And
that's quite big. Impressive.
Thanks, Eugene. They do that by commands, and I have random set up here. Again, hello. Oh, there I. Oh no. Oh God, close your eyes. Yes, I made some of B. Some of them have to be redone, but that's all about having fun. So, again, how do we now get StreamerBot to trigger effects that are actually based in Linux on a Windows wine emulation or bottles, and then trigger in OBS? Well, that was the tricky part. In StreamerBot, you are able to run scripts as a program, which I believe works better in Windows than it does on Linux. You're asking a Windows system to try to get a command line a script to run in Linux, you want a script to run. It's you open up the terminal in where that script is at. Bash the name of the script, and it runs. Simple enough. Well, getting the Windows platform to trigger that in Linux, I didn't have any success with it. And in all openness and transparency, I've used ChatGPT for this, and it's helped. It's again, I look up stuff. I'm not particularly sure what I'm thinking about and what I need to do. I never thought about a script, and it brought it up to me. So let me bring up a file folder here. So I have a complete OBS file folder, like all my images and text and things like that, triggers and text files and sounds are all in this one particular folder. Hopefully you have yours like this. I created a script folder. And I created these scripts, voice baby, voice hacker, voice hologram. We'll talk about this voice listener in a minute. Voice normal. And let me open one up. And it's a very simple setup. I added extra things, but usually it's, you have bin bash. And it's usually just like EasyEffects, which runs the EasyEffects program, and load presets, and it's looking for the baby preset. I could not get that to work. I think it triggered the action once, and that was it. I'm like, all right, I'm excited. It worked, and then it wouldn't work at all. So I think it's an issue. Again, I am on bottles. I have used Flat Seal to have it see my OBS folder. It doesn't see the rest of my system. It sees the rest of my folder, all my OBS stuff in there. So StreamerBot can see that, which shows up as a Z drive for OBS. But the script wouldn't work. It wouldn't trigger it. So, and I worked 5 to 6 hours to get this working, which might not seem like a long time, but I don't like sitting, at this, at the desk for 5 to 6 hours trying to figure something out. I know a lot of you do, and that take things, people create stuff. I get that, but I retired, but I do have things to do. And I get aggravated very easily. I'm an old guy, yelling at kids to get off my lawn. So, looking things up, I posted a question on the OBS Discord for StreamerBot in their Linux Mac forum. Again, I was suggested to use a script. Others have gotten it to successfully work, whether because I don't know if they've been on bottles or wine. I don't know what I'm doing different. Again, you're dealing, and not to knock anybody, it's all volunteers. If you go to OBS StreamerBot, or if you go to Discord StreamerBot or Discord OBS, everybody that helps you is a volunteer. So you have to be patient with the responses and all that. And, didn't get a lot of responses. So went back to ChatGPT. The script is not working. And let's go back here. So basically, if you're going to add a script to any of your actions, you right click, add, go to core, go to systems, run a program. This is what your box looks like, and you put the target in the working directory. Don't necessarily have to put arguments in there. So it would be the target file voice underscore baby.sh working directory. Again, here, this is what it looks like when you open up the directory. So it opens up the Windows file, and it's my computer. It's Z. You'll see all these others, but you go to home, your home name, and then this is I have it specifically set up that this is my folder that StreamerBot can read. And if you see, all my other files, for OBS are in here. Doing it this way and getting the script in there, like I said, it triggered once. I could not get it, no matter what I did, could not get the trigger to the program to execute. So what did I do? What did actually ChatGPT, who people say, oh, listen to it for programming and all that. For the little guy like me that, struggles with that, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know at least one other big streamer out there that struggles with it and uses ChatGPT. So sorry if we offend anybody, but we're going to use what tools we need to use to get some job done. What was the suggestion? Well, StreamerBot is really good for write the file.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Mr. BitGamey. So if you had folders named Nut1 and Nut2 on that drive, they would be considered two nuts? Oh, you're funny today. I expected to go somewhere else, though, but... How you doing today, Bit? We're streaming on Linux today, and we're talking about Linux stuff. I guess I was hankering for some pain. Z's, not twos. Oh, and consider Z's nuts? Oh, I get it. So we're talking about, I'm glad you can join. Look at you doing Linux. Well, I've been using Linux since 2015. I went full blown into it by 2017. And I streamed on it from 2017 pretty much up to 2023. When I think was that I finally went fully back to Windows late in 23. Late in 23, during the war. But I got tired, and what I'm doing right now is a lot of workarounds. I got tired of the workarounds. That's why I kind of went, my main streaming is going to be Windows, my other 3 days a week, 3 days a week. But Tuesdays, we're going to do this stuff on Linux. So if you're interested, we can help you, maybe. So in Linux, there's wine and there's something called bottles, and bottles is just a nice fancier setup of wine, like a one-click install where wine, you have to go through all these commands. On StreamerBot, there is a real easy, I did it on one of my distributions. I followed the everything perfectly and got StreamerBot to work with no StreamerBot to work perfectly after I entered everything in that, and it ran for me. But we lose a couple of things like the chat. Now it pops up. Now some people have got it to work. It has to do with WebView 2. WebView 2 is installed, but nothing. So I actually am using the chat from the StreamerBot. I'm gonna do my middle monitor here. which I can't type into, which really sucks. So I have to leave a couple other ones. So there's a lot of other stuff that's going on with this. So I was talking about using VSTs, like for voice changing and that. Now, do you use VSTs in your setup? I know you have it where your voice changes, like when you're getting smashed by the Nintendo elephant guy. Who is that? And other things. Well, in most cases, in OBS specifically in Linux on a Wayland system, Wayland-based system, you cannot get custom browser docs, and you cannot get VST windows to open. Just doesn't happen, and it's a Chromium Embedded Framework issue in that, which may or may not be fixed in the next 12 years. You know, that's just the way it works.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Hello, Barker. Barco is flaming. Does Wayland count as real Linux? Yeah, it does. I mean, there's a lot of good things about it. You're going to have the community split. But people that are going into certain distributions are going to end up going to ones that are running Wayland. And we just have to, you have to be prepared for changes. You can find a system with X11 and use VSTs.
Someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today.
Hello, Hans CCT. Back on Linux just on Tuesdays. Just on Tuesdays. I'm already tired of what I've had to do just to get voice changing in here, because I can't get a VST to work in Wayland. And I want it automatic. I don't want to put up a voice changer and have it run and pick up an audio source in OBS and have to manually click it. I want it automated. So we were just, I did a thing. We're using EasyEffects in Linux for me to get my voices to change in OBS. It's not Wayland issues. No, it's the Chromium Embedded Framework issues. Outside of that, I have no problem in anything else that I run Linux on, or in Linux, any programs I run. So I already showed. I have here. This is what I have so far. I have a setup in a program called EasyEffects in Linux that works with Pipewire that you can enhance. So right now I'm using the EasyEffects microphone setup through OBS. So hopefully I think this sounds, the setup I got pretty good. Well, now I can sound
like a baby and just flick it over and have this annoying baby voice. Like, hi, cute. Don't you just want to pinch my cheeks? And if you don't take care of me, I'm going to tell Grandma.
And then the good hacker voice. This one was very easy to set up. Just a pitch change. So I got the hacker voice. The two that I'm still working on and trying to improve a bit, because I know nothing about audio. I really don't. I'm learning.
This will be the hologram sound. It sounds like tinny. It's not coming through really well. Kind of like Star Wars and that. And then
a robot voice, and then the robot voice. Exterminate! Exterminate! Go back to normal there. To be honest, if I were going to podcast often, Mac all the way, Mac software and hardware better for multimedia. But yeah, I don't podcast. I guess you can call this a podcast. But again, StreamerBot doesn't work 100. You can I forget what the program you use in what their emulator is in Macs, but there's the same issues. If you use something like StreamerBot. StreamerBot automates all sorts of actions and such. So StreamerBot also, I created scripts, and StreamerBot should be able to run a script, but there's maybe a little bit of conflict from being in bottles, even giving it permissions to get it to run a script, a window kind of command running a Linux script. It wasn't working for me. So, Chat GPT, I said, this stuff we set up is really great, but it's not being triggered, in my actions. Well, one of the things that StreamerBot is really good at is writing a file. I use it in several things, like when I have my highlight come up. Like if I do, if I highlight this, that's your message was written to a file that then pops up that StreamerBot sends over to OBS, and I get a highlight. I kind of created that. I know I can use social stream media Ninja to do this and that, but I wanted something special. So StreamerBot writes to a file. So you could write to a file once and it rewrites anything else that it puts on there, or you can I think it's what it penned, where you write it keeps adding to that file. Linux is able to read file changes. So what lovely Chat GPT did is have me make a script, call it Voice Listener. Let me open it up. And it's a bin bash. So I open this script up before I open up StreamerBot, and it's running until I close it. So what it's doing is it's looking for like the file, and I set up a baby text file through StreamerBot. It's looking for the changes, and it's over in my directory, in my OBS directory, in that when the script sees a change in the file, it triggers and changes to another preset, to a baby preset, a hacker preset, the hologram, or normal. So if it's this, it's going to run this. If it's this, it's going to run this. If I add other voices, all I got to do is pretty much copy this string here, drop it down, and then just change the names to what I created that preset to be. So this is always running. So in my StreamerBot setup, where I would normally have like it run a script, or if I was in Windows, basically in my Windows setup, it's turning the trigger on for the VST and then turning the trigger off. Again, I can't use VSTs. I thought that maybe if I can get it set up and import the setting over, that it would work. No, you have to be able to open up that setting to be able to turn it on. And in Wayland, with the Ceph issue and that's the issue. So I have to write the file. So the file to write is in my OBS directory, my triggers folder. I call it triggers, and it's a hologram text. And it's just going to write hologram. Anytime that this action triggers, it's going to write hologram to that text. Now, text files aren't huge, so space-wise in that, it's meaningless, and I can always delete and reset the text file if it gets too huge. So Windows will send that, StreamerBot will send that, even though it's in bottles, will send that text change to my Linux folder. And from there, that listener script will pick it up and change the voices, you know, on EasyEffects. Sorry about that. On EasyEffects to get my voice to change on my microphone in OBS. So let me show you this. I'm going to run the trigger for the hologram. And now let me double check. Hopefully I haven't been talking like a baby for a while. Yep, it's on normal. We'll run the trigger.
And now the voice is flipped over. So here's my hologram. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Bit Gaby. He needs a force to be with him. He's looking for a Jedi. Can you please come and save us? So again, I didn't have to click on anything. Here's my action. And it goes.
Catch a little bit of a sound change and that. What desktop environment I use? GNOME, of course. There's no other one to use. I used the GNOME desktop. I love GNOME. And then I'm on Endeavor OS. So right now, because GNOME, I think GNOME switched over. GNOME's strictly Wayland now. There might be some, I guess, like if you go to Ubuntu base, like Zorin OS, I guess they're still on X11, but that's what they're doing on their end. I didn't want to be on me telling people out there, if you want to be able to go to an Ubuntu-based system first, don't come to Arch or anything like that. It took me years, and I'm on the easy Arch. I'm on Endeavor OS, easy install, but I've been having a lot of success with it. It runs really well, and I don't have a lot of issues. But getting the plugins and all that, thankfully, there's the AUR. But if someone doesn't keep up with the plugin, like I learned today, that my downstream keyer, if I click on it, it should bring an overlay up, and it's not. I'll have to open up, and I think it's the guy that packaged the OBS through the AUR, because I don't want to use the Flatpak. The Flatpak has quite a few plugins set up for it, but it doesn't have all the plugins that I use, so I'm not using the Flatpak. On an Ubuntu-based system, you can install through the OBS PPA, which is like a direct link to where they keep OBS updated. And when your system updates or when OBS sends an update down, you run an update on it and you have the next version of OBS. I think we're like a point version behind Windows on Linux and that. But then you go to the OBS plugins, and majority of especially all the newer plugins, are not only for Windows, but they're for Linux and Mac too. And then, like with Windows, they either have a zip file or an exe, which will just install it for you in that.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Hello.
Hey, Steve Anderson, how you doing, buddy? Oh, come on. Don't be a Karen with Steve. He's okay. God. See, it's all about automation. It's all about having fun and engagement. And that's why I go through the troubles. So, looking back at this, and again, like I said, if you're seeing this, don't go to Arch unless you are a big power user. Even then, start out with something like Ubuntu, because you will get your closest to Windows experience with OBS, especially if it's on X11. But know that things are going to change. So again, here's the write the file, the hologram, and then at the end of this, I have a write the file for normal. So this is what will trigger me back to my normal voice. And again, I'm running a script, which is no different. My friend Adam, I was having problems with using like YouTube Music. What was that all about? X11? Well, X11 is your older Windows Manager. All this works on, like Ceph still works because it's built in for X11, but not for Wayland. We're waiting on this the Chromium Embed framework people to fix this. So if you're on a system with X11, you don't have to worry about it. You can still use VSTs, but otherwise you're not. Steve says, I hate snaps. That's right, and I'm a Flatpak user. I don't have a problem with snaps. It's not, and that's not why I don't use those systems and that. But you're going to have your snap haters, your Flatpak haters, and I will use the repository. Well, if you like old software. So, and all this is about if you like to change your voice and have it done automatically. This is a way to do it. I started saying, my friend Adam, when I was having problems getting, excuse me, the Tuna plugin in OBS to read some files coming off of that I could get from a certain YouTube player that I run. And it was using what was that JS Node, Node.Node. Worked on the same principle. A little bit of a lot of stuff that you have to throw in there, but it was a pretty neat program, and it was simple to run. It runs in the background. You have to run the script on it while it's running. So if you like voice changes, and you don't want to trigger it manually, and you use StreamerBot in wine or on bottles, this is how you can do it. There. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, it took me a while, and like I said, setting up the voices. The hacker is just a pitch, bring it down to 4. That's all you really need to do. The baby, move it up to 2, and you get the baby voice. That's all you got to do. Now the robot, what I was looking for vocoder, hopefully to work in EasyEffects, but I've installed it and it's not seen in EasyEffects. I wish there's an echo cancellation, but it would be nice to have an echo.
Someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Oh no! It's Cubicle Nate who likes to swim with the fishes. What's up, Knight? Knight's me mate, 'cause he's great. Welcome to the stream. And every time you mention Nate's name, you get a surprise. Again, automation is a great thing. It's about fun. So what we're doing here, Nate, is we're covering kind of how to use StreamerBot in a Linux environment through wine. I'm using bottles right now and try to get some automation. And I don't know if you caught it. I'm using a script to do this. And here, this is specifically for you, Nate. I'm still working on the sound. It's a little bit harder for me in EasyEffects, but hello, Nate. We will assimilate. We will annihilate. We will exterminate. I know you like your voices, your robot voices. Not quite the Transformer one that I had, but I'm working on it. I'm using presets in EasyEffects. And it was a lot easier than what I thought it would be. I looked at it a while ago, and I couldn't figure out, how do I get this? How do I get this to work? People on Nix, you notice, prefer Flatpak to Snap. I think I use a Flatpak, but roll my own from the app's Git repo. Exterminate. There you go, Nate. No, we don't want to exterminate you. We don't want to exterminate you. But I learned, as much as I looked around to find some programs, there's again, not a lot for Linux in a way. There's it's not maintained anymore, that Lyrabird. What else did I see? There's some that are Windows, but Linux could use them. Clownfish. Which as a VST, I think I tried before when I was on Pop OS, still running X11, and I can run VSTs. But that never really worked in that. So, EasyEffects comes with a lot of speakers, a lot of plugins, a lot of effects. I found actually the one I use for my normal microphone now. That's coming through EasyEffects. I think it sounds a little bit better. It's a little bit of an upgrade from using the filters on OBS. And then making the presets. God, you gotta listen to yourself. Oh, it's bad enough you guys gotta listen to me. I gotta listen to myself. And doing the robot, like doing a normal voice, that wasn't a problem. But like when you do a pitch change one, just something happens to your psyche, and like I'm going to exterminate, but it's coming out. It's all of a sudden you feel like you're having a stroke. But you got to sit there and do that until you kind of get it right. It's a pain, but running it through your headset is definitely a must. It's kind of nutty. Let's see. Why won't you come up now? Because I'm running. That's right. Need a new instance is what I need. Wanted to show you bottles, so there we go. New window. There we go. So this is my setup in bottles. Again, a really smooth, easy way to get wine on your system. and it comes with quite a few presets of software. I don't know that I would necessarily use, but StreamerBot is actually in there. So there's this person over in the StreamerBot Discord forum for Linux Mac that had worked and did this for bottles. And you change your dependencies and all that. And it's as simple as this. So we're gonna I'll take you through a new install. We can name it right now. If I can, I can't type. Streamer.bot, call it. Thank you, Bet. So you guys want me to shut up? Is that what you want me to do? So you go to create a new bottle, you name it,
Someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Oh, Cody. God, it's bad enough, Cody. You made a guy cry now. God. With StreamerBot, you want to do custom, but you can leave. You can change it. Your runner, it's system wine or soda. A bottle is on soda 9.1. Leave all this other stuff to default and do create. And we'll build a bottle. My mic sounds like I'm in a hallway. No, it shouldn't. It should sound pretty nice. Unless I change something. I think you're in a hallway at work. I don't know. So the bottle created. So you go, and then you go to install programs. And these are all the pre-installed programs that are here. Well, it's Cody. Could be the car speakers. I am using EasyEffects, but it should be okay. Like Evernote, and like I said, there's some of these that I probably won, but you can run these ZOG games and stuff. But if you go down, where is it? StreamerBot. And you click on install and you install it from there. And it's as simple as that. There's no commands that you have to do or anything like that. I should change that so it doesn't come up for Nate every day. I thought that would be funny. When Nate shows up, my oh my god guy keeps coming up. Okay, so but what I learned with of course guys think farts are funny, It's why you need it on your stream, but we'll get you there. But one thing that I learned, so it wasn't, I had a hard time finding my files, the Z folder wasn't finding anything. Come on. So let's look up Flat Seal. You want to download Flat Seal. And in bottles, I guess I could change these. I don't need to change all these. These are permissions in that. But what you want to do is, where did I pass it? I passed it right here. So other files, I added my OBS file to here. I don't use the local share applications folder. You know, that's a hidden one. Everything is in my home folder. And when I was using Wine, it automatically picked up as my home folder. I had to keep all my OBS stuff in that home folder, not in another folder. Or at least at that time, I thought I had to do that. But in Flat Seal, you're just going to change it because you can add the folder that you have all your StreamerBot stuff in, or OBS stuff in. Click on that, and you can add another folder on here. I can delete these if I want, but you want to make sure you do that so when you do, go into StreamerBot, because you're going to, if you look for your file, it's going to bring up the old Windows file system, and it's going to create, basically, your Linux system is your Z drive. And if I go into any other folder, oh, it shouldn't be seeing that. But for specific purposes, my OBS folder is the one. I think probably because the other two set up where I could get in there. These are all my OBS files. So that's why you want to, specifically add your folder to the Flat Seal commands or permissions. Make it where someone makes a fart command, everybody farts, or a random person farts. So I know most people in Linux land are like, why do you need StreamerBot? And the answer is, why not? My old way of streaming was so effing boring. Once I learned about StreamerBot. So boring. Because especially I stopped, I didn't want to do that content anymore. I just want to be up here and have fun and chat and have people make fun of me. And there are, we see the increase of people looking at Linux now. And Nate, do you know I created my own highlighter? BitGamey loves the flexibility of StreamerBot. It is awesome. And the whole idea, so Nate, his name is Nate. Nate is the name of Nate. Nate is the name, Nate, of the creator of StreamerBot. He's Nate1280. So a Nate created StreamerBot. StreamerBot barely uses, it's pretty much all kind of like scripts and stuff. So it doesn't use a lot of resources on your system. But he did a big update to start preparing. I don't know how long, because he's a lone developer. And he did this with, it needed to be updated because it looks so Windows 98 or XP that with that in mind, to be prepared to start making a native Linux build and a native Mac build. That is the plans. Where in the plans, where in the future, how soon that will happen, I do not know. But it will be really cool when that happens, and probably a lot of these workarounds, will disappear. Doing this, I am not going to go back to streaming full time on Linux when I really have everything working, and I can still add extra onto that without having to worry about workarounds. I am so done with workarounds. I got challenged again. I wanted to show, what you can do in Linux with StreamerBot. There's a lot of people that already probably know this. There are couple streamers that I know in the StreamerBot forum that stream on Linux, and they, but they're into that. They're into the workarounds and figuring out ways. When the average person, the average streamer, is not into that. They just want to be able to stream and things to work. Is it a big step? Is it a lot to go and set up EasyEffects and that? I'm like, one time it was suggested from the OBS side that I look at Carla. And I looked at Carla and I said, bye, Carla. I'd rather deal with Karen. Okay, I was stupid. But Carla, you can have all sorts of VSTs and all sorts of things working. And I guess maybe I can get it to work the same way as EasyEffects. And I didn't give it a big, I was not prepared to really get into Carla and learn how to do things and that. The little wires that go here and there and all that stuff. But this is probably one of the easiest ways to get voice changes to work. Because like the hologram scene is nothing without a hologram sound, like from Star Wars. Or now I sometimes you don't understand though. I don't know why the Matrix gets associated with hacker, and you have to have this hacker voice. Whereas I could easily have done, you could easily do that with do a darkened scene, and do the witness protection kind of setup, and the hacker voice makes more sense. But give me 1 minute. I am going to be right back. My coffee's going through me, so I'm going to take a quick break. So don't go away. The stream here, there's not much, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. About 4 or 5 second delay. So is the clip taking before that? You know what? Let's take a look, because I want to get the clips right so I can start throwing more clips on the scene onto my Twitch here. So I'm gonna lunch was. I took my son to lunch today to a Jameson's Char House, and I had blackened chicken breast sandwich. That was so good. That was so good. And then let's do the create a clip again. Let's test this out. Actually, let's go to another screen first. Here we go. Wii U Wednesday. Thursdays Without Borders, GeoGuessr. And then again, Sunday for the Sunday Coffee Clutch. Take care, everybody. No. Let's work. Let's see. Another can. Let's the create a clip function. Let's see how. Okay, that's better. So, any questions so far about this? What's going on with the EasyEffects with my microphone? I can now use that in Discord or Zoom or anything like that. I don't know. There's programs you can do that in Windows too on that, but getting it to work. I just haven't come up. I don't know if I really need a different voice, but I had this higher pitched voice for the Flame On. So am I crazy? Am I nuts? Or does it make sense? Huh? Again, we're talking about StreamerBot. If I did port, I just copied my folder settings. You are nuts, but what was the question? I set up, the new StreamerBot, pretty much raw StreamerBot, with nothing in it, with the wine setup or the bottle setup, and I did a copy of my StreamerBot folder, and then just dropped it into the StreamerBot drive. You find, and if you're concerned now, when I was doing wine, I had a hard time kind of like figuring out the wine setup. Bottles, again, makes it much more easier. Since Bottles is a flat pack, we all know that the flat pack is stored in the .var folder. So you can go to the var folder, the app folder, and then Bottles. And then I believe is it in config? No, it's not in config. There we go, and have applications. And then there's your StreamerBot Bottles, but nope, that's not it. Where did I go? Now I'm forgetting where I went. Not the cache. We don't need the cache. Or I actually went through the Bottles folder. Yeah, that's right. It was in the Bottles folder. Let me do this again. Let me bring back new Windows and Bottles. We'll go to my Bottles here. And here it is. So browse the C drive. It opens up not the Windows C drive, but this is so it's var app Bottles data Bottles StreamerBot drive C. It's under users. You think stream user, but no, it's under public. And then StreamerBot. Here we go. Here's all the StreamerBot folders. I just then dropped the folder in here, written over all the new StreamerBot files to where I would get my setup. to where I can get StreamerBot where I had it on Windows. The problem, or the difference, is in Windows it uses text GDI. And that's like if you add a text source, it says text GDI. Using it in Linux, you just hook it up to the text freestyle, and or you hook it up to, if you can download the pthread plugin, which is a little closer to the text GDI. The only difference between the two, like text freestyle and text GDI, the pthread text GDI, you could put up a background color. You can't in the two on Linux. You would then have to use a color source to make a background for it. But I noticed this time around that, actually I went from Linux to Windows and ported my stuff over from Linux to Windows. And I did have to change the OBS sources to text to read the text GDI. But when I went from Windows to Linux, anything that I set up as a text GDI automatically went to text freestyle. So I thought I had to change all my text sources. I really didn't. I did have to change positioning in some of the fonts, adding your fonts, and that's a whole nother story there, making sure all your fonts are installed. And again, two semi-major things again. I brought up that the chat window, others are getting success with it working. WebView 2 is installed in this bottles, but I had read that you should turn your version of Windows to Windows 7 in the bottles, but I did that and I didn't get it. You know, whether I had to do that when it was installed, maybe that was the point. We shall see. I'll have to test that out. And the other thing, so anything that you have if you port it over, you cannot create. Let's see. I'll use something small here so I can get in here. If you do add, let's see, core. Let's see. No, that's all right. In building a script in StreamerBot doesn't work. And I am not sure, is that not the system? I don't want to, I want to build something. I've never done it, so I'm not sure where to find that. But let me bring up a the text window to build your script doesn't show up.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hey, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today.
What's up, Tony? Tony Baloney. But the thing you use to build the script in StreamerBot doesn't show up in Linux. That's what I'm trying to put. So if you're used to doing that, you might still have to use Windows to build your script to add it that's in it. So a lot of these programs, I don't build them. I do everything pretty much with just line setups and that. I can make this smaller by using scripts, and you can get a little more specific. But that's a next step that I'll eventually learn. How you doing today or tonight, Tony? Huh? How you doing tonight? Yes, it is. It's the GNOME desktop. It's the GNOME desktop. I love me some GNOME. GNOME is where the heart is. But I got Dash the Panel, a couple other plugins or extensions in there. I don't mind installing extensions. It's so easy. It's so easy. So today we were talking about basically like voice changes. What do you do? How can you set up voice changes in Linux without being able to use VSTs? Not bad other than a back issue. Yes, I do understand that. The weather has been so beautiful here. Oops. I think my son texted me when I was in the washroom, and what time is it? Oh no, he just texted me. Okay. I gotta pick up my son. So yeah, the back. So I started walking again, and it was because I when it's too cold and windy, when it's sub-zero, I'm not walking in that stuff. But we're like in this lower or upper 50s right now, like 10°C right now. You know, it's pretty great for February. So, so we looked at. Oh, you're currently using Fedora GNOME. I tried using Fedora KDE because I'm like, okay, everybody's telling me how great KDE is, and again, Fedora. If you're used to Fedora and if you want to do all the extra stuff to get things running on Fedora, that's fine. I think it looks beautiful. I think GNOME is the most beautiful on Fedora. I don't know why. But there's just too many things that you have to do to get things, at least for me, working. And Endeavor OS with GNOME is nice. But again, EasyEffects, you can install it to a flat pack. Now I did have problems. I actually installed mine through using the Pac-Man installer. The Flatpak, I put in the commands to download for the Flatpak of EasyEffects last week, and it was stuck looking for package for quite a while. So I'm like, okay, I want to get this installed. I'm going to go with the, I don't remember, it was through Pac-Man or through the AUR, through Yay. Don't recommend that for everybody, but it works for me. Tried KDE Neon, it's okay, but prefer GNOME. Yeah, I don't know why. Yes, but you can't make GNOME look good without extensions. I look at it this way. KDE has the extensions, but they're built in. Well, why can't GNOME have them built in? I don't know, but the extension manager just makes it so easy to do it that you download the extension manager Flatpak, and then I use. Oh well, they always break. If you use not the weird ones, but the top ones, they're maintained pretty well. I've never had an extension break on me. You want to try Endeavor, but no software store. Au contraire, mon ami. Again, once you have FlatHub, I actually made a page for FlatHub, but do I have it, or do I have it here? I have so many things running right now. But it's called Bazaar. Install Bazaar through the FlatHub, and you will have a store. So this is Bazaar. Looks pretty familiar, huh? Uh-oh. I don't know if Zap is going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. No. I got to work on that one. Didn't Banachek work? I was working on that the other day. But yeah, download Bazaar, and now it has a store. So, and and majority they're all flat packs. So, and that, and then the extension manager. You have all these loads and loads of extensions, and you can control it right through here. So I do have a few. I tried a couple of new ones. Alphabet to app grid, because GNOME doesn't put them in alphabetical order. The app indicator and notification support, blur my shell. The clipboard indicator, so I have multiple can do multiple copies and pastes. Dash to panel, desktop widgets. I have a clock on here. I put an emoji. I have the emoji copy. Gotta have emoji. The quick settings audio panel. So there's you can adjust all your different sounds in OBS when it's running. The tiling shell. So now I have the Windows tiling manager on here, which is pretty great. And a wallpaper slideshow, which downloads Bing wallpaper. So yes, quite a few extensions. But as you watch this, if you have any questions about the EasyEffects and getting it running, if you want, I can easily set up my script for others to use. You just gotta pretty much just change the name on it, and it will work fine. But this is one way that you can get voice changes automatically using StreamerBot into OBS and that. So
what do you think, Tony? Was it really cute? And then finally,
for Nate, we will exterminate. We will exterminate. Oh my gosh, I'm crazy. But that's all EasyEffects. Wow, it was pretty easy to get the effects. Okay. All right, my friends, I got to cut it a little shorter today. Oh, that's right. I got to fix something. The font shows up. I have some where I want them to show up behind me, but I don't have the background remover. Oh, Karen. I got to set up the background remover for the fonts. Karen, come on. It's okay. It's okay. The Republicans won't, they don't worry. We'll be good. I know, they drive you crazy. They drive you crazy.
Steve, someone has joined
No, that
the
was
chat on
embarrassing.
YouTube.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Hey, Melon, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. I'm sorry, I was just actually getting off. I have to go pick up my son. So, hopefully you'll watch this, and new people, another 2 hours now. I would love to. But unfortunately, my son doesn't drive. And he's got karate tonight, so. He's a 4th degree black belt, and I don't want to piss him off too much. All I tell him is, I just need one good punch. Just one good punch. Drives me mad? No, he's a good kid. I wish he would learn how to drive, but I don't know if he's got the patience or the ability for it. Although he puts his mind to things, like again, he's a 4th degree black belt, so it's late here anyways. Yeah. So again, if you're looking for Linux stuff on Tuesdays, I will be doing streaming from Linux. All my other streams are going to be on Windows. If you have any questions over on YouTube in the comments section, you can send me questions, or you can do my email at Steve's very own gmail.com, and I will do my best to try to help you with any conversion you have going from Windows to Linux. Or I've been using Linux for a number of years, but I'm not a super big Linux guy. I'm not the big techie. I just want things to work. Tell him engines have black belts. I just one good punch. And then I go, are you threatening me? I don't threaten, son. And his mom will go, oh, he's just messing with you. Try me. Because there's no way I could run away from him. It's like he's either down and out or I'm down and out. And I don't want to be on the receiving end of his spinning back kick. I do not. He's put his foot through a wall, so it's pretty powerful. But anyway, so on Tuesdays, I'm going to do this continually on Tuesdays. If you have any questions and all that, come and, you can check out. Do I have a Discord thing? No, I don't. I mean, I have a Discord. Are you going to show your ID on Discord? Are you going to do that bit? I used to have an automatic message that I gotta fix. I gotta fix a lot of things here on Linux still. So, all right, I am going to switch over. Most adults, the new verifications will apply to allegedly. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the thank you scene. All right. That did work. Okay, it cleaned up. So, thanks for being here, Bit Gamey, number one, Barco, Hans, Steven Anderson, Cubicle Nate, Cody Akalamer, following Steve, Mr. Tony, Melon. I appreciate you being here and having fun at my expense. That's what this is all about. Again, Tuesdays. I was calling it Toolbox Tuesday, but I think I'm just like Linux and OBS and StreamerBot. Oh my. Tomorrow I will be doing just some stuff on Windows, and then Thursday is streaming with GeoGuessr, and then Sunday will be the Coffee Clutch. So hope you come by and visit me some more. I'll see you, Bit. I'll see you, Nate. I'll see you, Hans. Take care, everybody. Bye.